Some nights, a man walks into a bar, not looking for a drink, but for an answer. You can see it in the way he walks, the way he sits. He carries a weight that has nothing to do with the physical world. He'll order something strong, but he won't really taste it. He's here because a bar, late at night, is one of the few places left in the world where you can sit with your trouble and not be judged for it. That was the kind of night it was when a young fella, let's call him Mark, took a seat at the corner of my bar. He looked like a man standing at a fork in the road where both paths led straight off a cliff. He started his story, as so many good ones do, with love. He was getting married to a woman named Jessica, and the way his face lit up when he said her name, well, it's the kind of thing that makes an old cynic like me believe in it all over again. He said she was his rock, the person who made him better just by being in the same room. Their wedding was supposed to be the culmination of everything they'd built together, the ultimate celebration. But there was a shadow hanging over it, a shadow cast by one name on the guest list, the name of his best friend, his best man, David. Mark and David weren't just friends, they were practically brothers. They were the kind of friends who had a shared history written in scraped knees, inside jokes, and silent understanding. David was there when Mark's father passed away, sitting with him in silence for hours when words were useless. Mark was there when David's first business failed, helping him pack up the office with a bottle of cheap whiskey and a promise of better days. David was supposed to be standing next to him at the altar. There was never any question. In Mark's mind, a wedding without David was like a movie without a main character. It was simply incomplete. But here's the twist in the tale. The woman Mark loved with all his heart, Jessica, could not stand the man he called his brother. And her reasons weren't petty. This wasn't about some drunken, off-colored joke David made at a dinner party once. It was deeper. It was about a wound that had never truly healed. Mark explained that back when he and Jessica first started dating, David made it his personal mission to try and break them up. He was convinced, in that arrogant way some friends have, that Jessica wasn't good enough or fun enough for Mark. He'd actively tried to sabotage their relationship. He'd forget to pass on messages from Jessica. He'd tell Mark little lies, twisting her words to make her seem controlling or needy. The final straw was when David told a mutual friend that he'd seen Jessica getting a little too friendly with another guy at a party, a complete fabrication. It was a cruel, calculated attempt to poison Mark's mind against her. It almost worked. It led to the biggest fight of their relationship, a fight that nearly ended them for good before they uncovered David's deception. When Mark confronted him, David wasn't even truly sorry. His excuse was pathetic. A dismissive, arrogant tone. "I was just looking out for you, man. I didn't want to see you get tied down and change." Mark had been furious, but in the end, he forgave him, for the sake of their history. He made David apologize to Jessica, which he did, through gritted teeth. And they all just moved on. Or so Mark thought. He was naive enough to believe that time had healed that particular wound. But for Jessica, it hadn't healed. It had festered. It was a constant reminder that Mark's best friend had not only disrespected her, but had actively tried to destroy her happiness. So, a few weeks ago, as they were finalizing the guest list, the inevitable moment arrived. Mark had David's name written down at the top of his list, under Best Man. Jessica saw it, and her face went cold. She didn't yell, she didn't scream. She just looked at him with a quiet, final kind of disappointment. Absolutely not, Mark. He is not coming. I will not have that man at my wedding. I will not have him standing in our pictures, smiling like he's our friend after what he did. The air in the room grew thick and heavy. Mark tried to reason with her. He pleaded. Jess, that was 5 years ago. People change. He's my best friend. He's been my brother for 20 years. I can't get married without him standing next to me. I just can't. He tried to make her see the history, the loyalty, the bond that felt, to him, as sacred as the one he was about to form with her. He was asking for understanding, for a gesture of peace. But he was asking the impossible. Jessica just shook her head, her eyes welling up with tears of pure frustration. "No, you don't understand," she said, her voice trembling with the old, unresolved hurt. "This isn't about forgiveness. I forgave him for your sake years ago. This is about respect. His presence at our wedding would be the ultimate sign of disrespect to me and to us. It says that his betrayal doesn't matter, that trying to ruin us was just a little mistake we can all laugh about now. I can't start my marriage like that, Mark. I won't." And then she delivered the final blow. The words that had led him here, to my bar. She looked him dead in the eye, the love and the pain warring on her face. "I'm not going to fight you on this every day until the wedding. So, you have a choice to make. It is a simple one. You can have David at your wedding, or you can have me. But you cannot have us both. It's him or it's me. You need to decide who you're building a future with." And with that, she walked out of the room, leaving Mark alone with the wreckage of his own heart. So, he sat there in front of me, swirling the whiskey in his glass, torn in two. On one side, the woman who was his future, his everything, asking him to stand by her and respect a boundary that was forged in betrayal. On the other, his oldest friend, his brother, a link to his entire past, who he felt he was being asked to abandon. To choose his bride would feel like a betrayal of his friend. To choose his friend would mean losing his bride. An impossible, soul-crushing choice with no right answer. This is one of those stories where there are no easy villains, just people tangled up in loyalty and old wounds. So now the verdict falls to you. Was Jessica right to issue such a severe ultimatum, forcing her future husband to choose between his partner and his past? Or was she the asshole for being unable to move on from a 5-year-old betrayal for the sake of her wedding day? And what about Mark? Is he wrong for even hesitating? Or is the bond of lifelong friendship just as sacred as the vow of marriage? I'll be down here, wiping down the bar, waiting for your decision.